WrestleMania weekend is behind us, but the festivities started early with WWE NXT Stand and Deliver 2023. The best and brightest in the developmental brand clashed to make their mark on the weekend. Hosted by Pretty Deadly, Saturday's show was certain to impress anyone not familiar with WWE's youngest and brightest stars. In the main event, Braun Breaker and Carmelo Hayes, NXT's guiding stars for the past couple years, collided for the NXT Championship. Who emerged as the brand's truest foundation? Johnny Gargano was back in NXT one last time to settle the final score. He and Grayson Waller brawled in an unsanctioned match. How far were they willing to go to take each other out? Every NXT championship was on the line at Crypto.com Arena in Los Angeles. Roxanne Perez defended her gold in a ladder match against 5 hungry women. Wes Lee faced the best 4 men he could find, with his NXT North American Championship hanging in the balance. This was just the top of a stacked card that looked to make NXT proud, highlighting more future megastars, including the Creed brothers, Tony D'Angelo, and Chase U. Welcome, everybody, to this very special edition of Talking Wrestling TXN. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined as always by good old MF Michael Fletcher. We are maybe awaiting the presence of the phenom Michael Bullock. If he comes in, we'll catch him up on what he missed. If not, then we will have him back with us tomorrow night for a special Tuesday edition of Ridiculously Raw. Well, what I mean by that is I know you were all expecting Monday Night Raw tonight, but no, MF decided to call an audible, which I 100% agree with, and I believe this is the correct way to go about this. So I know everybody is up in arms tonight after a horrific Monday Night Raw, to say the very least. The worst Raw in years. I can't remember the last time we had one this bad. But I'm telling you all right now, we're going to be unleashing hell tomorrow night. I know I damn sure will be. But that's tomorrow. That's not tonight. We're going to focus on the positives here tonight. And what we're going to do is we're going to recap NXT Stand and Deliver and the 2-night WrestleMania 39. So that's exactly what we're going to be doing here tonight. So with that being said, let's not waste any more time. Let's dive right on in. And we started it off with a rarity here. We don't see much of these anymore, but we actually had a pre-show match for NXT Stand and Deliver from the Crypto.com Arena, formerly the Staples Center in Los Angeles. That 8-person mixed tag team matchup. Chase University, Andre Chase, Duke Hudson, Thea Hale, and Tyler Bate versus the Schism, Ava Raine, Joe Gacy, Rip Fowler, and Jagger Reed. Control of Chase University on the line. And the winners of the match in 11 minutes and 9 seconds, and still in control of Chase U, Chase University. Chase U wins the match in 11:09. Well, fun opening act for Stand and Deliver, even after it was surprisingly thrown on the kickoff show last minute. Chase U working together near the end was especially cathartic. Hudson chose his side and made Schism pay for their mind games. It was the best way to go, as Chase U is a popular act in NXT and a gimmick that could translate easily to the main roster. Schism cannot buy a win, but that has always been the case. Ava Raine at least got a bit of ring time, though Thea Hale massively outshined her. I'm not going to be doing my formal reviews here because we got a lot of things to cover here tonight. So I'll just give this about 3 to 3.25 stars for the effort. And one bit of news that came out today, as I give it to MF, and that is the dyad, Jagger Reed and Rip Fowler, requested and were both granted their release from NXT. I wonder if this had anything to do with the outcome. So MF, it's yours.
I think so, and now I'm starting to believe that probably did have something to do with the outcome. However, I thought it was a fine match. It was a 3-star bout. Look, Ava Raine, I kind of felt like I kind of disagree. I think Ava Raine would be better when she deals with somebody other than Thea Hale. I think Thea Hale was actually a major disservice for her. I don't think she's that polished enough, and I actually think that for Thea, she was good but not great, and I kind of disagree. I kind of felt like Ava Raine could have been a lot more better if she had better competition in the ring. My personal thoughts alone. So it's yours, Florio.
All right, let's set you up for the next match. So as we go to the main card now, we started with the 6-woman ladder match for the NXT Women's Championship. The champion Roxanne Perez defending against Zoe Stark, Gigi Dolan, Tiffany Stratton, Lyra Valkyria, and Indy Hartwell. The winner of the match in 17 minutes and 2 seconds, and new NXT Women's Champion Indy Hartwell. MF, what? Wow.
There's really nothing more to say. Shocker of the night. Nobody had this coming. It didn't matter if it was. It didn't matter if you had Roxanne Perez like we did. Some people had Zoe Stark winning it all. Many people had Tiffany Stratton win it all. I'll rest assured you, nobody had Indy Hartwell in this. And Indy walks out with the belt. Good for her. Well deserved. Finally, she gets her moment in the spotlight. And I cannot wait to see her as NXT Women's Champion. Great matchup, great battle, unbelievable spots in the match. 4 to 4.5 stars. Nothing more to say, Florio. It's yours.
Yeah, fantastic ladder match that should stand up to the competition on WrestleMania weekend. Everyone got their spot. As with any of these bouts, there were some rough spots, but hopefully nobody suffered a serious injury. It was a shock to see Roxanne Perez lose the NXT Women's Championship so soon, but maybe she has a great story now to get back to the goal. Hartwell's win feels more like an NXT Lifetime Achievement Award than anything. She has worked on the brand for so long, so she gets a surprise title run before her maybe heading to the main roster. So, 4.25, teetering on 4.5. One of the fights of the night for sure. So, congratulations, Indy Hartwell. Humongous win for her. No question about that. So, then we move on to the triple threat match for the NXT Tag Team Championship. The champions, Gallus, Mark Coffey, and Wolfgang, defending against the Creed brothers, Julius and Brutus, and Tony D'Angelo and Channing Stacks Lorenzo. Winners of the match in 8 minutes and 11 seconds, and still the NXT Tag Team Champions. It is Gallus, but business has picked up because Joe Coffey of Gallus is back, and he thought Gallus was bad before. They're going to be even more of a handful now. Solid but sloppy tag team match. Following the women, the men tried to make their own impact with major spots, but definitely lagged behind. The right team won as Gallus are fully reunited. Joe can be a major challenger going forward in NXT, and he makes the champions appear unstoppable. The family showed off some great tag team synergy, but still need to work more to refine their offense. They can be a great tag team with more time. I'll give this about 2.5 to 2 3/4 of a star. I would say second worst fight of the night. I thought there was one that was worse than this, to be honest with you. So, not much more to say here. MF, you thought Gallus was dangerous before? Oh, business has damn sure picked up. Joe Coffey's back? Yikes.
Yeah, and you know I'm a big Gallus guy. You know I love Wolfgang. You know I love Mark Coffey. And Joe Coffey, who's a former ICW World Heavyweight Champion in his own right. Wolfgang, a former ICW World Heavyweight Champion in his own right. These guys have been one of the most dominating forces in Europe. And now he's back. And oh my God. Yeah, game changer, whatever you want to call it. I was thoroughly impressed with everything that went down. And yeah, this was a solid fight. Yes, it wasn't perfect in certain areas. Could have been a lot more better in other parts. But I will say this, it was fine. So nothing more to say. And yeah, so there's really nothing more to add. So Florio, it's yours. 3 stars.
All right, and we move on now to the battle, the fatal five-way for the NXT North American Championship. The champion, Wes Lee, defending against Dragon Lee, JD McDonough, Ilya Dragunov, and Axiom. The winner of the match in 19 minutes and 17 seconds, and still the NXT North American champion, Wes Lee. MF, I hope whoever was there, I hope somebody called the LAPD because them five boys stole the dang show.
Stole the dang show. Fight of the night. 5-star classic. Ladies and germs. This was as good as it got. Great action. Great wrestling. Hard hitting. Exciting. It was everything it needed it to be and then some. There's really nothing more to add here. It was incredible. I really got nothing more to add. So, yeah, this lived up to the hype. We knew it was going to live up to the hype, and it delivered. Stand and delivered was the key word, and they did. Nothing more to say. Anthony Florio, it is yours.
Couldn't agree more. 5-star classic. This was the fight of the night and could be the best of the weekend if the main roster doesn't step up to the challenge. The talent on display was unreal. Axiom may not have had the name to match up with the other challengers, but he absolutely stole the show. Ilya Dragunov was a close second, though, with some incredible moments. The champion let his challengers stand out while escaping with the NXT North American Championship. Wes is building a legacy as the title holder who may be the best in the belt's history. I know I wasn't going to do a formal review, but in this case, I got to do one here. Wes stood in the center of the ring to start the match, but he gladly stepped aside for Dragunov and McDonough to brawl. Champion went for a somersault plancha on McDonough, who walked away. As the necessary evil was celebrating, Lee laid him out with a super kick. McDonough dived onto Axiom and Dragunov outside, then planted Dragon with a Spanish fly. Caught Wes with the devil within, but the Czar stopped the count. Everyone then turned on McDonough and laid him out. Dragon caught Wes in the ropes and laid him out with a diving foot stomp to the floor. Champion broke up a pinfall by Dragunov on everyone with a diving corkscrew. Axiom caught Wes with a golden ratio mid-cardiac kick. Dragunov merely took the win off a deadlift superplex and running low forearm smash on Axiom, but the Lees met at pinfall to break it up. Absolutely outstanding match. 5-star classic. The first of what ended up being a lot of 5-star classics during this WrestleMania weekend. So, definitely that was a 5-star, no question about that. So, and we move on to the unsanctioned match. Grayson Waller versus Johnny Gargano. Johnny Gargano wins the match, 18 minutes and 12 seconds. This was 4.5 to 5 for me. Few have been, let me say it like this. Johnny Takeover was back, and he told a great story with the Australian. It was near the level of Gargano's best old NXT matches. The two battered each other and kept the energy high throughout. Few have been as good lately in NXT as Waller, so he deserved this spotlight, even if he could never take the win. He has more than proved himself as a heel of the future for WWE. Hopefully, both men can carry this momentum forward, no matter which brand they are wrestling for in the future. And you notice Candice LeRae was there with baby Quill in hand. And eventually, she got a hold of Grayson Waller with that kendo stick. A lot of great highlights in this one. The loudmouth tried to strike the Rebel Heart with a steel chair during his entrance, but Gargano kicked him out of the ring, then dove onto him over the announce table. Gargano battered Waller with a kendo stick and then planted him with the one final beat for a close near fall. Waller low blowed Johnny and hit a running return cutter for a near fall. Waller's back was battered from the kendo stick shots. And then after the match was over, we had a reuniting of the way as Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae stood with the new NXT Women's Champion, Indy Hartwell, and Indy's husband, Dexter Lumis. Johnny and Candice wrestling together with Index. Definitely a feel-good moment for fans of that particular faction. So it was basically a way reunion with Dexter Lumis in place of Austin Theory, but But nonetheless, though, a great moment to say the very least. 4.5, teetering on 5. This was another incredible match. And no surprise. You had a feeling Gargano was going to win. So I had a small doubt. MF and I had small doubts. But Michael Bullock, being Mr. NXT, he went with the heart and soul of his brand. And Bullock was a genius. So not much more to say here. MF, Johnny Gargano defeating Grayson Waller, 18 minutes and 12 seconds in what I believe was maybe the second best fight of the night here.
Yeah, agreed. 4.5 stars. That it won't get the full 5, but it was pretty damn good. This was a great matchup. This was a great title fight. I really think there's really nothing more for us to add. So yeah, I believe we're now to the main event, the NXT title.
No, we have one more match. We have one more match before that.
All right.
And that was the battle for the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships. The champions, Kiana James and Fallon Henley, with Brooks Jensen and Josh Briggs in their corner, defending against Isla Dawn and Alba Fire. And the winners of the match in 8 minutes and 41 seconds. And new NXT Women's Tag Team Champions, Alba Fire, Isla Dawn, MF. I believe we had this one.
Yeah, we did have this one. And it was literally the Kiana James and Brooke. It was really because Kiana James and Fallon just could not get along. They just, there was just moments in that fight where they were just trying. They just try to work together and they just couldn't do it. And then the next thing you know, other mistakes were being made, and even the guys. There was one moment where they try to work together and it just blew up. It just didn't work. Unfortunately, not enough. And like we said, history being made, and we have new tag team champions. So yeah, really nothing more to add, Anthony. It is yours.
Yeah. Another 2.5 to another 2.5, 2 3/4. It was better. It was better than the build suggested it would be, but it was still a step below the rest of the card. The drama distracted from the action as expected, though everyone stepped up in terms of in-ring performance. Alba Fire and Isla Dawn are a really strong women's tag team and find their chemistry easily. Now that a cohesive team has the titles again, hopefully the NXT Women's Tag Division can get back on track. So there isn't anything much else to say on this. I'm not going to go full detail on this. So 2.5, 2 3/4, right around the same as the men's. So now we're on the main event for the NXT Championship. The champion Braun Breaker defending against Carmelo Hayes. Winner of the match in 16 minutes and 10 seconds. And new NXT champion Carmelo Hayes, the A champ, is the champ of NXT. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but disappointing fight here. It was a solid but formulaic main event. After all the build, the finish was cheap, requiring him to cheat to win. It would have meant more if Breaker went out finally meaning his match once Trick Williams was ejected. What matters most is that the right man is champion. Give Melo the best and brightest in NXT, and he will steal the show time and again. Shawn Michaels and company would be smart to look at the 5 men who stole the show earlier in the event. The former champion did not look like a man looking for a rematch at the end. This likely seals the future of Breaker, who will most likely head to the main roster. He has great potential, but still can learn a lot from working with the top guys. So, best I could probably give this would probably be maybe 3 1/4, 3.5, if I'm being honest with you. We didn't think this was going to steal the show or anything. We didn't think this was going to be a 5-star classic, and it wasn't. But there was just something missing, and that cheap finish definitely didn't help. But at the end of the day, the only positive is the right guy won. That's all there is to it. They got the right guy. So at least they did something right here. So 3 1/4, 3.5. Disappointing. The disappointing fight of the night. MF, the match may have been solid, but not overly spectacular. But Keyword but, the right guy won, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, right guy won, and we had the crowning of a new NXT champion. Um, it could have been better in certain areas. That's fine, but nah, man. I mean, I get it. I understand it. I'm happy. 3 stars, Florio. I guess I lead off on overall. Look, I gotta say, it was a good NXT takeover. Stand and delivered. It was good. It was solid. I could say this was no doubt maybe 8 out of 10. I don't think it was anything. I thought it was good. I mean, there wasn't really any real bad fights. But it was solid to good. But at the end of the day, history. We saw what we saw, and it was solid enough. So yeah, um, nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, 8 out of 10. The 2 tag title matches and a disappointing main event kept this from being an all timer. But when it comes to this era of NXT, but the 5-way for the North American Championship, fight of the night, Gargano and Waller, second best fight of the night, and then rounding out the top 3, I would have to go with the women's ladder match. But without a doubt, the shocker of the night, no question about it. None of us did not, nobody in their right minds had Indy Hartwell winning that thing. But more power to her. That's all I'm going to say. More power to her. She most certainly deserves the moment, and we'll see what happens with it. And that's really all there is to say there. But we had 3 title changes: new women's champion in Indy Hartwell, new women's tag team champions in Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. I mean, oh my goodness, those two as champion, yikes! That's all I'm gonna say on that. So there isn't really anything left to say except now we move on to the showcase of the Immortals, the 39th annual WrestleMania 39. And we start with night 1 this past Saturday night from SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California. Over 80,000 fans in attendance. The Miz and Snoop Dogg served as the co-hosts for this event. This is the most important event on the WWE calendar, so we can expect some big moments, shocking results, and a few surprises along the way at SoFi Stadium. Let's take a look at what happened on night 1 of WrestleMania. And we started it off with the battle for the United States Heavyweight Championship. The champion, Austin Theory, defending the title against the challenger and former United States Heavyweight Champion in his own right, John Cena. And just trying to find my notes here. Okay, I got it now. Okay. Gotta get rid of this third-party ad. All right, here we go. Yep. Theory and Cena U.S. title, and the winner of the match in 11 minutes and 20 seconds, and still the United States Heavyweight Champion, A-Town Down, Austin Theory, retains the title. All right. Decent match, but it didn't really feel like a WrestleMania performance. They didn't do anything out of the ordinary. It could have been a match on any edition of Monday Night Raw. 3 to 3.25 stars. The stage for this show looked amazing. MF went on the record and said it was the best WrestleMania stage and set since WrestleMania 33. I am inclined to agree. John Cena had to make a Wish Kids on the stage for his entrance. It was a nice moment. The way Cena grabbed Theory for the first AA attempt made it look more like he was going to hit a GTS. And Cena looked a step slower in this bout than he has in his last couple of matches. We considered the Breaker and Carmelo match from Stand and Deliver as the disappointing fight of the night. This was the disappointing fight of the night. We thought this was going to be something pretty decent, but all it was solid, but not overly spectacular. 3.25, but the right guy won, and that's all that matters.
I didn't know you were gonna cut to me or not. You kind of threw me off there. No, I'm in full agreement with it as well. 3 stars. It wasn't the best match of the night. Could have been a lot more better in certain areas. And yeah, by far, it was disappointing. I think a lot of fans kind of noticed that Cena was off a step or two in this fight. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. Nothing more to say. Florio, what's yours?
All right, and we move on to a match we didn't really have high expectations for going in, but oh boy, did they defy them. The men's WrestleMania Showcase Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match. Braun Strowman and Ricochet versus the Alpha Academy. Chad Gable and Otis versus the Street Profits. Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins versus the Viking Raiders, Eric and Ivar, with Valhalla in their corner. Winners of the match in 8.5 minutes, the Street Profits. MF, they did all of this in 8.5 minutes.
I know. I know. You thinking back of your mind, fun little sprint. My foot. This was amazing. The action was fast and furious. The body of work was amazing. Everybody played their roles really well. And as a matter of fact, I believe I called this too. So I got major bragging rights out of this. Thank you very much. Yeah, amazing matchup. Another 3. Yeah, I got to say 3.5. This was a solid fight, to say the very least. So, Florio, it's yours.
Okay, there we are. You gave it 3.5. Is that what you said?
Yes. Yep.
Agreed. 3.5, and it's pretty much a formality now, folks. The Yukon Huskies are about to win the men's national championship.
Oh yeah.
So
no commentary needed. Yeah, no commentary needed here.
No. For the first time in 5 years, the national championship is coming home to the Big East. So I'm definitely very pleased about that. So all right. Everyone, the rest of the bout was pure chaos. It was hard to keep track of who was legal at times, who's the legal man in this match. A gazillion times, I'm sure. But we saw some fun double team spots from every duo. Crowd was hot for this match, and it delivered some fun moments. After Braun Strowman came close to winning, the Street Profits were able to score the win. The result was somewhat unexpected, but it was the right call. So the big brawl spot felt too forced, but the spots the Raiders hit during the scuffle looked great. Chad Gable being able to perform a rolling German suplex on a guy the size of Braun Strowman is one of the most impressive things we saw all Saturday night. Ivar attempting a moonsault was awesome. He missed his target, but he looked good doing it. We can retire the Tower of Doom spot now. I'll take it a little bit of a step further. 3.5 to 3.75 of a star. Sleeper fight of the night. So there isn't much more to say on that. Then we had Seth freaking Rollins squaring off against Logan Paul. Seth freaking Rollins wins the match 16 minutes and 15 seconds. Despite interference from Logan Paul's bestie there, KSI. Seth freaking Rollins wins in 16-15. 4.25 stars. Seth Rollins always brings it, especially in big match situations. But we again find ourselves noting how good Logan Paul did in his performance. He sold well, he had all of his big spots, and he had great facial expressions. KSI revealed himself to be in the Prime costume when he pulled Logan Paul out of the ring to save him from a curb stomp. Rollins pulled KSI into the path of a dive from the Maverick before he hit the pedigree to get a 2 count. After a few more exchanges, Rollins scored the win to make SoFi Stadium happy. But what this was, it was pretty great. It was a little on the overbooked side at the end, but that's a minor complaint. Logan Paul did a zipline entrance a la Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 12, and someone was dressed as a bottle of his Prime Energy drink on the stage who was later to be revealed as KSI. Having a conductor lead the crowd in singing Rollins' theme song was a great way to do his entrance. Logan Paul's slingshot lariat looked better in this match than it did the last time he hit it. Jumping straight to the top rope to hit a moonsault was the most impressive thing Paul did in the whole match. So there isn't much more to say on this. Easily 4.25 stars. And ladies and gentlemen, it is now official. The Yukon Huskies are once again national champions. They win the NCAA tournament, and they did it in grand fashion. They put away a very game San Diego State Aztec team, 76-59. The Yukon Huskies, for the 5th time in school history, national champions. And for the 4th time, the 4th of the 5 titles, they did so as a member of the Big East. And their last one in 2014 came as they were a member of the American Athletic Conference. But this one, they went back to their roots. And for the first time in 5 years, the national championship trophy is coming home to my conference, the Big East. I couldn't be any more delighted about that. And our dear young friend, Josh Avery, he's very delighted about it. Because I know he's a big UConn fan, and I know he's got to be loving this right about now. So congratulations to the UConn Huskies. We'll have more on this Thursday night on TXN Sports World. And we will lead off Thursday's show with the recap of this. So not much more to say here. 4.25 stars for Seth freaking Rollins and Logan Paul. So not much more to say here. MF. Seth freaking Rollins defeating Logan Paul, 16 minutes, 15 seconds. And we always keep saying it. Say what you want about Logan Paul, about him being a pretty boy and D-bag and all that stuff, which he is and always will be. But anytime he's called upon to bring it in a big match situation, he always delivers. I mean, he did it at last year's Mania with Miz against the Mysterios. He did it against the Miz at SummerSlam. Took the Tribal Chief to the limit in Saudi Arabia. And had a standout performance in the Royal Rumble match, including that epic spot with Ricochet, that epic collision. And then, of course, this match at WrestleMania with Seth freaking Rollins on Saturday night. Another epic performance. So 4.25 stars. I'm awaiting for MF to come back. I think he probably stepped away for a moment. So
No.
Okay,
I was just waiting. I was waiting for my cue.
Okay. Okay.
You never really queued me up on it, so I was just waiting for my cue.
Right.
No, I agree. I'll give it a 4.25. I'll give it about 4.25. I thought they did a good job with it. It was a solid fight. It was a good battle. I don't think there's anything more to add. I think the body of work says it all, and there's really nothing more to add. So, Anthony, it's yours.
Okay, let me set you up, MF, for the next matchup, which was the 6-woman tag team match. The women's tag team champions, Becky Lynch and Lita, along with fellow Hall of Famer Trish Stratus. They went up against all 3 members of Damage Control, Bayley, Io Sky, and Dakota Kai. Winners of the match in 14 minutes and 40 seconds. The face team, Becky Lynch, Lita, and Trish. Becky Lynch with a manhandle slam from the second rope on Bayley for the win. MF, we had some doubts about who was going to win this match, but
yeah,
we thought, because there were rumors going around about Trish turning heel on Becky, setting up a possible SummerSlam match, but nothing of the sort happened here. Becky, Lita, and Trish pick up the win, and Damage Control, the downfall continues. Another loss, 14-40.
Yeah, this was not a good outcome for them. Not a good loss to suffer. And now there's even rumors that Bayley might be leaving. I don't know if you noticed her social media. She kind of hinted about maybe leaving WWE. So there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to dissect over here about that. But I will say this: solid match, good battle. It was better than expected. I think we all kind of felt like it was going to be a good fight, and it was. I could say 3.75 to 4. With it, it was a solid women's matchup. So really, nothing more to add. And Anthony, it's yours.
Yep. Let me get in here. Okay. All right, both teams had a chance to run the match for a little while, but when it was time for it to come to a close, the man scored the win with a manhandle slam on Bayley from the middle rope. This match had some good moments, but as a whole, it felt kind of clunky. Stratus and Lita haven't been full-time wrestlers in years, so they can't be expected to perform at the same level they once did. Bayley, it was all right. Lita looked a little out of practice in some spots. She seemed to hesitate at times too. Trish still takes bumps really well, and the exchange between Becky and Bayley was the best part of the whole match. I'll give this about. I'm not as high on it as MF was, even though I was happy to see Trish back because you guys know my love affair with Trish Stratus. MF knows it better than anybody.
Mm-hmm.
As happy as I was to see Trish, and as happy as I was that they booked this match, it didn't quite live up to the hype for me. It was still a fine match, but I'll give it about 3.25, 3.5. I'll meet you in the middle. So, not much more to say on that. Let's move on. Then we had father versus son, Rey Mysterio versus Dominic Mysterio. Winner of the match, 14 minutes and 55 seconds. Rey Mysterio, the Hall of Famer, defeats Dominic Mysterio with a little help from Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny sat in. They brought back the Spanish announce table for this. We don't usually see the Spanish announce table much anymore, but we got it here. Bad Bunny sat in on Spanish commentary with Marcelo Rodriguez and Jerry Soto, and he was the determining factor. Dom was going to use a chain on his dad, but Bad Bunny said, not on my watch, and that led to the win. And then a beautiful moment afterwards where Rey celebrated with his wife Angie and his daughter Aaliyah. Not only was this probably the best singles match performance Dom has given, but everybody who was involved also did a great job with the part they were given. Like I said, Bad Bunny was with the Spanish commentary team for this match. The video that tried to make Dom look like a hardened criminal was hilarious. Rey taking off his belt to spank his son was very funny. And the way Rey hit the bottom rope when Dom countered a Hurricane Rana looked nasty. But solid 4 stars for the match. There isn't much more for me to say on this. MF, Rey gets the first blow, but this feud is far from over, especially after what we saw tonight on Raw.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely talk about that tomorrow. But no, this was excellent, man. I gotta say, this was a solid main event, a very good fight. And it, like you said, 4 stars. No arguments with me on that. Like you said, great action all the way around, and yeah, there's really nothing more to add. So, Anthony, it's yours.
All right. Are we ready for this? The battle for the SmackDown Women's Championship. The champion, Charlotte Flair, defending the title against the winner of the 2023 Women's Royal Rumble match, Rhea Ripley of the Judgment Day. The winner of the match in 23 minutes and 35 seconds, and new SmackDown Women's Champion, Mommy Rhea Ripley. And with this win, Rhea Ripley is now a Grand Slam champion. Heck, she's done it all. The only thing she has yet to do is become Miss Money in the Bank. But other than that, NXT UK Women's Championship, check. NXT Women's Championship, check. Raw Women's Championship, check. Tag Team Championship, check. And now Royal Rumble, check. And now you can add another one to the checklist. The SmackDown Women's Championship. All she needs to do is Money in the Bank, and she can say she's done everything there is to do as far as a woman.
Queen's Crown. Queen's Crown. Remember that?
Oh, yeah,
Queen of the Ring.
Crown. Yep, Queen of the Ring. Yep, that's now in there as well. So, but I think she's going to hold this for a little bit. So I don't think she's going to be a factor when it comes to Queen of the Ring. But we'll see. But we'll see how that works out Memorial Day weekend. But for right now, MF, You remember 3 years ago, I went on the record and said that they had the greatest women's match in WrestleMania history, despite the fact that it was in that dinky performance center for the NXT Women's Championship. I don't think there's anything left to say except on Saturday night, one of the rare times that we can say the sequel topped the original and then some.
Yeah, everybody's saying it. And many people are calling it the greatest women's match in WrestleMania history. A lot of people are saying it, not just Anthony Florio, not just a few people. Heck, I'll even mention them by name. Derek Ferreira even referred to it as one of the greatest matches, one of the greatest women's fights in WrestleMania history. So yes, there's been a number of different feelings. There are a number of different emotions, whatever you want to say. It was an incredible fight. It was legendary. It was incredible. It was historic. It was, you know, any type of superlative you want to talk about, it's exactly what it is. 5-star classic, no doubts about it. And it's going down as one of the greatest women's championship fights in WrestleMania history. There's really nothing more to add. So, Anthony, it is all yours, my friend.
100% agree. They were slow to lock up as they circled each other and tried to play mind games, but once they did make contact, they immediately started going at 100 miles an hour. This was a great match that got better as it went along. Rhea Ripley absolutely deserved this moment after all of the great work she has done over the last couple of years. The German suplex Ripley hit while the Queen was on the top turnbuckle was an awesome spot. Charlotte landed on her face when she rotated during a German suplex, and you could immediately see a rug burn on her nose. And Rhea Ripley may have chipped a tooth. You could see it when she smiled toward the end. But nonetheless, and the way Rhea won it, she won it decisively. She didn't have any outside interference. There was no Finn. There was no Damien. There was no Dom. No, it was all Mommy. Mommy did it all on her own. And she did it in grand style, putting the Queen away with a riptide from the second rope for the 1, 2, 3, and becoming the new SmackDown Women's Champion, and deservedly so. It's going to suck to lose Mommy to SmackDown, but all I can say is for MF and the SmackDown Women's Division, business is damn sure going to pick up with Mommy coming. So 5-star classic. I couldn't agree with you more. Incredible match, and I'll even dare as far as to say this is now the greatest women's match in WrestleMania history, surpassing the classic they had, the near 5-star they had in that dinky performance center 3 years ago. So, but Rhea gets the ultimate payback, so good for her, well deserved. All right, we had an impromptu match because The Miz and Snoop Dogg came back and they announced the paid attendance. The attendance was announced as 80,497, and all of a sudden, we had a surprise guest. And he did it for the brand. Pat McAfee. Yes, Pat McAfee for the brand comes out and he challenges Miz to a match. And Miz is like, yeah, I may be the host of the show, but I can't make matches. But Snoop Dogg made the match anyway. So it was Pat McAfee versus The Miz. And Pat McAfee wins the match 3 minutes and 40 seconds. I mean, there's nothing left to say except this was the cool down moment.
Ultimate cool down. It needed it too. Definite perfect cool down.
Dumb and funny, and exactly the kind of segment you should expect at WrestleMania. It was also a good opportunity for anyone in the arena to use the bathroom if they needed it, or in the immortal words of MF and Gorilla Monsoon from the prior to the intermission at WrestleMania 6, to go get some groceries. So, yeah. So, Michael Cole's enthusiasm for Pat McAfee was hilarious. And Pat McAfee backflipping off the top rope was a cool moment. He's done that a few times in WWE, and it's always kind of impressive. I really don't know what to rate this, to be honest with you. Oh, but we lost MF, so hopefully MF will be back with us momentarily. But okay, there he is. MF, I don't really know how to rate this, to be honest with you.
This was more of a segment more than a match. I mean, honestly, all right, fine. The fight did happen. We did have a little bit of some interference by now. Quote, now don't shoot. I know people are gonna start going crazy on me, but George McGriddle Kittle showed up and helped out in that moment with a nice little clothesline. He's a big diehard wrestling fan, so that was an awesome moment. And to think about a 49er doing that in a Rams stadium. Just think about that, folks, for a moment. McAfee coming back was awesome. Total surprise. Nobody saw this coming. There was no dirt sheets about it. Everybody was quiet. Pat McAfee earlier today said on the Pat McAfee show, only 4 people knew that he was at SoFi. He was locked up in a bus, and they basically told he was basically on a bus at SoFi and basically stayed there the whole time. He never left. He's like, there was a moment where Michael Cole was outside and he thought he saw the bus, and he wanted it to go out, but thank God the Boston Connor and Nick Morado, they both kind of told him, no, stay here. You don't want to remember. This is a big surprise. You don't want to spoil it here. So then the moment that came out was that they heard about The Miz issuing the open challenge, and that was the moment where they're like, let's go. It's game time. And sure enough, you heard the music hit. I freaked out on commentary. I was pulling a Michael Cole. I was going crazy. I was freaking out. I was marking. Florio and Bullock kind of were like, all right, it's Fletcher's moment. Let him have this one. I was doing and I was doing everything from the For the Brand to the Swantani Bombini. When he did it, Florio still, he's like, you gotta tell me what the hell are you talking about, Fletcher, with this stupid Swantani Bombini?
No, you know what I said. I do the same thing that I always do whenever you say that.
Yeah.
I pulled the Bobby Heenan from the Hall of Fame in 05 with the Iron Sheik saying, what the hell did you just say?
Yeah.
And then you let out a laugh and you were like, Swantani Bambini, homie. And like, I ain't your homie.
So, I mean, it was incredible. It was good. Solid match. As far as a rating goes, yeah, I kind of feel like you can't really rate it. It is an automatic NA. That was kind of more of a throw. So it was more of a segment than anything else. So I'm cool with that. Florio, let's go.
The only thing left to say is when it comes to this next match, there damn sure ain't going to be no NA on this one.
Oh, no.
Because, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time in WrestleMania history, the Tag Team Championship was in the main event. And for only the second time in WrestleMania history, a tag team match, playa, is the main event of WrestleMania. The only other time it happened, you got to go all the way back to the very first WrestleMania, WrestleMania 1, Madison Square Garden, Hulk Hogan and Mr. T, when they went up against Rowdy Roddy Piper and Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. That's before this year. That was the only other time a tag team match main evented WrestleMania. The fans wanted it, and they actually listened, and they gave it to us. The main event of night 1 of WrestleMania for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship the champions, the Usos, Jimmy and Jay, defending the titles against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, the winners of the match, in 24 minutes and 15 seconds, and new WWE Undisputed Tag Team Champions, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. They win the titles. And how fitting was it that it was Sami Zayn who scored the winning fall on Jey Uso to win the titles? MF, there isn't anything left to say except as the Gorilla Monsoon, take it home as only you can. New champions, Monsoon.
Yes, history was indeed made. Unprecedented crowning. And you know what? I never thought I was ever going to say this, but I think we got to pull the trigger. Obviously, 5 stars and beyond. But the biggest thing that I think we can talk about, maybe, and this is where I think the debate's going to start, the greatest main event in WrestleMania history. That's going to be a debate that's going to rage for a little while. But tag team fight of the year, maybe even the fight of the year. This was an amazing main event for a night one of a WrestleMania. Clearly, greatest night one main event since they started doing this 2-night format. Greatest main event in WrestleMania history. And I could even make an argument now, maybe the main event, the greatest main event in WrestleMania history. I mean, that's, like I said, that's going to be a debate that's going to rage for a little while. But whatever the case may be, this is exactly what it needed it to be. Great action, great wrestling, great everything. And it was historic. It was amazing. It was hard-hitting. The story itself said everything it needed it to be. Congratulations to Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn on winning the titles. Anthony, it is yours.
Wow. I don't know how to follow that, but in the immortal words of Ben Stein, I shall do my best. Oh, my goodness. This match was great for both its in-ring action and storytelling. All 4 guys did a masterful job with everything, especially the selling of the big spots. You could see people legitimately crying in the crowd as Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens hugged with tears in their eyes. This was the perfect way to end a perfect night one of WrestleMania 39. Not only, you noticed when Sami and Kevin came out, they not only had matching gear, but they also had the PWG logo on it. MF knows that story way better than I do.
Pro Wrestling Gorilla. That's actually where they started it. Yeah. And oddly enough, the man who created PWG is actually the voice of AEW, Excalibur.
Wow.
Yeah. Excalibur is the brainchild of Pro Wrestling Gorilla.
I can only imagine what Excalibur was thinking when he saw that.
Oh, yeah.
I can imagine. But Kevin Owens as a tag team wrestler is great because he has one of the best hot tag sequences in WWE. KO has such a clean frog splash. He should give Dominic Mysterio some lessons on how to execute it. And Jey Uso using the haluva kick against Sami was a great moment. But just as great a moment, seeing Sami hit not 1, not 2, but 3 haluva kicks to Jey Uso and score the winning fall on Jey Uso to win the titles for Sami and Kevin. Sami hasn't collected many titles in WWE. He is a former NXT champion, former multi-time Intercontinental Heavyweight champion, but it's only the 3rd title he's won. He's a tag team champion. But just like Rhea Ripley did earlier in the night, Kevin Owens can now call himself a Grand Slam champion because he's been the Universal champion. That technically counts as a world championship. So So technically, Kevin Owens has won a world championship. It is the Universal Championship. That's a world title. So he has that. He's also been the United States Heavyweight Champion. He's also been the Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion. The only thing he needed to complete the Grand Slam was the tag team titles, and thanks to Sammy, he got them. So KO is now a Grand Slam champion. So congratulations to Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Well deserved. The reign of terror of the Usos ends at 622 days. I don't know. I highly doubt we will ever see a reign like that ever again, no matter how long we live. So incredible main event to cap off what was an incredible night. And as we said, as myself and MF said, along with Michael Bullock, when we did our Facebook video messenger chat the other night and last night, we don't give a damn. We're pulling the damn trigger on this one. Night 1 of WrestleMania, a perfect 10 out of 10. Yes, there was one bad match, but that one bad match served its purpose. Cool down between that epic women's match and the main event. Some people are poo-pooing on that. Can't please everybody. But at the end of the day, that served its purpose. All the other matches were solid to good to great. 2 5-star classics. And we had some other incredible matches as well. The main event, fight of the night, just a smidgen better than the women's match, as great as that women's match was. Seth Rollins and Logan Paul, what an incredible match they had. That men's WrestleMania showcase was far better than it had any right to be, but it did. And holy wowzers, what an incredible night. And all night 2 had to do was deliver, and we would have been looking at an all-timer when it comes to WrestleManias. So
yeah,
what an incredible night 1. Set the bar real high for night 2. So perfect 10 out of 10. We don't give a damn what anybody says about it. MF, your overall review, and then we'll get into night 2.
agreed. 10 out of 10, perfect score. I think we all kind of were thinking deep down in our minds, we're like, oh my God, I think night 2's it's almost going to be impossible for them to top this. How are they going to do it? How are they going to pull it off? What are they going to do? Well, we'll find out, because here we go. Night 2. It's yours, Florio.
Okay. All right. So with that, let's move on. Let's move on now to night number 2 of WrestleMania, well, which was last night, Sunday night, once again from SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California. And I'm having a hard time getting my thing up here. But the question was, would it live up to the hype? Would it? I mean, night 1 set the bar ridiculously high. I mean, we are all most assuredly agreed on that. So the question is, would it live up to the hype? Well, we'll let you know right here and right now. So, all right, I think I got it here. Okay, here we go. On the heels of an extraordinary first night, WrestleMania 39 culminated Sunday night at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California, with a blockbuster main event for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship as Roman Reigns defended against Cody Rhodes. The epic encounter capped a card that also saw Bianca Belair celebrate 1 year as Raw Women's Champion by defending against number 1 contender Asuka. Elsewhere, Gunther put the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship on the line in a triple threat match with Sheamus and Drew McIntyre, while Brock Lesnar returned to the grandest stage of them all against Omos. And speaking of Lesnar and Omos, it was the first fight of the night. It was Brock Lesnar squaring off against Omos, and the winner of the match, and I believe it was 4 minutes and 55 seconds, it was the Beast Incarnate, Brock Lesnar, and he did exactly what we thought he was going to do. He's German suplexed Omos and got him up for an F5. And Omos, or I should say Brock Lesnar, goes on to win the match in just north of 5 minutes. 2.5 stars. I'll be honest. The match was infinitely better than it looked on paper. It was a ton of fun, with Lesnar selling to put over Omos' power-based offense before taking advantage of an ill-fated charge into the corner and taking him to Suplex City. A massive F5 ended the Nigerian Giant's night as Lesnar scored his first WrestleMania win since WrestleMania 34, if you can imagine that, against Roman Reigns of all people. The Beast Incarnate could have easily pouted and sandbagged Omos, but he worked hard to put him over instead, then eked out a win. Solid way to start off the show. Michael Cole revealed on commentary that this was Brock Lesnar's 12th WrestleMania match. Omos overpowered Lesnar early, chucking him across the ring and drawing a smile from the Beast. The Nigerian Giant hoisted Lesnar up in a bear hug as Cole put over how rare it is to see the Beast manhandled to that extent. Omos smacked his face on the ring post and Lesnar delivered a German suplex, then added a second. He sold his back injury, but not enough to prevent a third German suplex, and then got him up for the F5. So it went exactly as we thought it would. And I'll give it 2.5 stars for the effort. So a solid way to start the show. So not much more to say. MF, the Beast takes down the Nigerian Giant in 4:55.
Yeah, 2.5 stars. I thought it was a solid opener. You know what? A lot of people didn't really have high expectations with the match. The match really had a very low bar, and I think at the end of the day, they did a good job. They served its purpose. The bar was really low, and it ended up being an actual decent fight. So there was really nothing more to add. So Anthony, it's yours.
All right. So with that, we move on to the women's WrestleMania Fatal 4-Way Showcase match. Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler versus Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan versus Natalya and Shotzi versus Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville. Winners of the match in 8 minutes and 25 seconds. Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. MF, no big surprise. This was not as good as the men's was, though.
Yeah, it wasn't. The thing is, when the match kind of went down, there was a solid match. It was a solid battle, but when Ronda and Shayna came in, it kind of dominated the fight, and I was like, "What the heck?" So at the end, it was good for what it was worth. It served its purpose, but I can only give it maybe 2 stars. And even by then, in that standards, I gotta call it the worst fight of the night. So really, nothing more to say. Florio, it's yours.
Yeah. I told you this was not going to be anything good. It was an okay match with a bad ending and no clear direction for anyone outside of the winners. Makes this a creative disappointment, even if the effort was there from the competitors. Well, 6 of them at least. I'm not even going to go into full detail on this one. So I'll give this about 2. Call it the worst fight of the night. All right. Triple threat match for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. The champion Gunther defending the title against Drew McIntyre and Sheamus. Winner of the match in 16 minutes and 40 seconds. And still the Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion, the Ring General Gunther, is still the champion. He retains the title. 3 of the hardest hitting competitors in professional wrestling clashed over the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship in the night's 3rd match as Sheamus and Drew McIntyre challenged Gunther in one of the show's most anticipated bouts, and it did not disappoint. All 3 competitors beat the life out of each other, bruising their chests and punishing their bodies. McIntyre and Sheamus continued to tell their story of mounting dissension, with the Scot costing his opponent the victory and title on several occasions. Late in the match, the exhausted friends turned enemies unloaded on each other, culminating with Sheamus catching McIntyre with one more bro kick. He covered, only for Gunther to fly in from the top rope with a big splash and finish the Scot off with a powerbomb for the successful title defense. It was going to take a truly special match to top this one last night. We knew Gunther and Sheamus had chemistry, as did McIntyre and the Celtic Warrior, but the 3 competitors stole the dang show with another instant classic to help elevate this 2023 broadcast into the realm of one of the best WrestleManias ever. Gunther made a grand entrance, befitting a ring general and dominant Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion. Sheamus unloaded 29 beats of the Bowderin on Drew McIntyre, the last one catching him in the face. With Gunther seated in the corner, McIntyre tossed Sheamus overhead into the champion. Sheamus applied the cloverleaf to Gunther, but McIntyre broke it up with a headlock. The Celtic Warrior delivered a bro kick, but McIntyre broke up the pin, robbing him of the one title that has eluded him throughout his Hall of Fame career. Sheamus rocked McIntyre with a bro kick, but McIntyre kicked out at 2. The Irishman returned the favor moments later when he kicked out of a Claymore. When you talk about Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship matches in the history of WrestleMania, you talk about Savage and Steamboat from WrestleMania 3. You talk about Roddy Piper and Bret Hart from WrestleMania 8. You talk about Razor and Shawn's ladder match at 10. And you may even have a soft spot for the triple threat match at 34 with Rollins, Miz, and Balor. But as great as all 4 of those matches were, and they were, this is, without a doubt, what we saw last night was, in my honest opinion, and I know MF will agree with me, and if Bullock was here, he would agree with us as well. This was, in my honest opinion, the greatest Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship match in WrestleMania history. So great that Michael Cole, Corey Graves, and guest commentator for the match, Titus O'Neil, all stood and applauded after the match was over. That's how good that match was. 5-star classic. And I think we could easily call this the fight of the night, to be honest with you. And we have ourselves another match of the year contender. So there isn't anything else left for me to say on this. 5-star classic, fight of the night, greatest Intercontinental Heavyweight title match in WrestleMania history. And MF, all of those previous WrestleMania Intercontinental classics I mentioned, this match last night put all 4 of those combined to shame.
Yeah, and there's no argument with that. I think a lot of people were talking about it as well, and going into it, we were like, "Is this gonna live up? Is this gonna live up? How's this gonna deliver?" It delivered and then some. There was no argument. It is another 5-star. It is another you could say another fight of the night. This is a fight of the night level match, and for many people, this was when night 2 started for WrestleMania. Some people were like, all right, fine, we got the preliminaries out. Now we're at the main course. And this is where you want to talk about explosions. This started it. So, yeah, Florio, it's yours.
All right. Let's move on to our next match, and it was the battle for the Raw Women's Championship. The champion, Bianca Belair, defending against Asuka. Winner of the match in 16 minutes and 5 seconds, and still the Raw Women's Champion, the EST, Bianca Belair. MF, 1 year and counting for the EST. Another shocker here. Nobody saw this coming.
Shocker here. All right. Great match. Great battle. The wrong person won. That's the key word. It was a great matchup. It was a great fight. The body of work was incredible. Everything was perfect. You could even say maybe 4.25, 4.5. The only argument, the only thing that we're going to be talking about is the wrong person won this fight. Obviously disappointed. Obviously, not the right situation. But at the end of the day, hey, it is what it is. There's really nothing more to add. Congratulations, Bianca Belair. You made history, my dear. You are still the Raw Women's Champion. I know a lot of people wanted you to lose the title, or a lot of people thought that you were not going to win it, and you defied the odds yet again. So for me, there's really nothing more to add. Anthony, like I said, 4.25, 4.5. It was a great matchup. However, I think we can agree, wrong person won this fight.
With all due respect. But 4 to 4.25. I agree with the rating on this. Bianca Belair is quickly establishing herself as one of the best big match performers in the industry. And a match like this, being as good as it was, with a crowd as into it as they were, despite minuscule build, only adds credence to it. Asuka can now sink deeper into despair on Raw, becoming more dangerous and evil in her pursuit of the title. This feud wasn't good enough or complete enough for a title change. It will be, though, and all will be right with the world. For now, WWE was right to preserve what is becoming an impressive streak for the EST at WrestleMania, one it can build on moving forward if it sees fit. And a dance troupe, a young dance troupe called the Divas of Compton, joined Bianca Belair for her entrance, one of the best of the entire weekend. And Triple H even admitted during the press conference last night that little girl who folded up like a contortionist, her mother passed away earlier that day.
That morning, yeah.
And still went out there and did that. I tell you right now, if that had happened to me, I would have said no. I don't care if it's WrestleMania. I would have been an emotional wreck if it had been me, bar none.
I remember. Well, I'm gonna reveal the velvet rope here because I was talking with my dad last night because we were chatting during the WrestleMania press conferences for the last couple nights that they were doing the WrestleMania press conferences, and we were chatting about it, and I remember vividly that comment by Triple H, and Hunter was choking up in tears. Like he literally broke down. That was something that I don't think we ever would have thought. Especially from a guy like Triple H. You're thinking he can't be that. Like, wait, this is Hunter, the cerebral assassin, the king of kings, the game. Like, no, he's human, folks. He has emotions. And it just, yeah, even I was like, wow. But at the end of it, it was very emotional. It was very everything. And mad respect to Hunter. Mad respect to that little girl. I mean, for her to do that under those circumstances, like you said, Anthony, if it was any one of us, we probably would not be performing. But for her to do that at the grandest stage of them all, that's a testament to her work ethic, and just so that she can perform under that spotlight, because that spotlight is magnified like tenfold if you perform at WrestleMania. I think any good individual will pretty much say that our thoughts and prayers are with her family tonight. And we hope that the WWE Universe can rally around this girl. Find out where she is, where she's from, we already know what the organization is, or the troop, and maybe try to lend her a helping hand. Any way possible. We were there for Damar Hamlin. We've been there many times in moments of grief or whatnot. I think this would be the perfect time to let's do a little something special for this girl. Let's do a little something special for her family. That is something I would recommend or wish from our great fans here tonight. Go ahead, Anthony. It's back to you.
Indeed. Belair delivered a thunderous powerbomb on the arena floor. Whatever Belair throws at her, Asuka takes it and smiles. Corey Graves said on commentary. Belair delivered a big suplex from the apron over the top rope to her opponent in a great display of strength. Struggle for control on the ropes ended with Asuka pulling Belair to the mat with her braid and then delivering a code breaker for a near fall. Asuka whiffed on the miss, but still managed to apply the armbar in a dramatic spot. So 4 to 4.25 stars for this. I'm trying to think. MF, did you lead off on this or did I? Because I got so caught up in that.
I believe you led off on it. Oh, actually, no, I led off.
Oh yeah, that's right. You said because you said the wrong person one. That's right. Yep. So,
yes.
Yep, I do agree for the most part, but you want to build Belair as a credible champ, so which he already is. So they obviously wanted to give her the year-long rub. So yeah, 4.25. Move on. Miz and Snoop Dogg came back out. They announced the attendance for night 2 was 81,395. The total 2-night attendance was 161,892. And then Snoop Dogg books Miz in another match. And who comes out? Shane McMahon. And Shane O'Mac tore his quad. And then Snoop Dogg came in. And then Snoop Dogg beat The Miz in 2 minutes and 20 seconds. So, with all due respect, I don't even want to get into this. This was, not good. Not good at all. That was an absolute dud. That was hands down the worst thing of WrestleMania. But we will move on now to the Hell in a Cell match. Edge versus Demon Finn Balor. Edge wins the match. 18 minutes and 10 seconds. Great bounce back from that horrific moment before. This was 4.25, teetering on 4.5. The babyface going over in a match like this, the blow off of a year-long program makes sense. The problem is not that Edge won, but rather that he beat the Demon to do it. The gimmick is still a special attraction, but why beat it for a second consecutive time? Just don't book it. The Hell in a Cell stipulation was enough of a draw without involving the Demon, especially when it was known Edge would be going over. It felt like a booking misstep that overshadowed what was a great display of gutsiness from a hurt Balor and a strong match otherwise. Balor drew a big pop for his Demon entrance, which did not bode well for the idea that he was the heel in this match. There were red and purple weapons inside the structure, which takes away from the idea of spontaneity in a heated blow-off match. Balor suffered a nasty cut from the ladder, and the match came to a standstill as the medical personnel checked on him. Balor delivered a coup de grace from a conveniently placed platform on the side of the cell, but missed and crashed through the table. Edge followed with a spear for a close 2 count. 4.25, teetering on 4.5. So not much more to say here. MF, I hate to say it, but in this case, just like with the women's match, the wrong outcome. Balor should have won this match, as far as I'm concerned.
Agreed. No, agreed. And a lot of people said the same thing about that too. Wrong outcome. The ending should have been a lot more different. There's really nothing more to add here. So yeah, you're absolutely right. I don't think there's anything more for me to say here. You're absolutely right how this played out. My heart broke more than anything else. And yeah, this was a great matchup. If you guys got to see the injury on Balor, oh my God, it was scary, man. He literally split his head open like bad. It was a spot with the ladder where he tried to put his hands up, but the ladder was so fast that it actually clonked him right in the head and split him open bad. Scary scene. Obviously, the right thing was to halt the match a little bit, just to put the Vaseline and just to help him keep the cut okay. And yeah, there's really nothing more to say here. So, Anthony, It is another. I'll openly admit it. Maybe another 4.5 star, 4.25 stars. There's really nothing for me to say. So, Florio, it's yours.
Then, after, they had a big lull in between because of the construction and deconstruction of the Hell in a Cell structure. Of course, they acknowledged the class of 2023 Hall of Fame inductees, as per tradition, and then we were all finally ready for one of the most anticipated WrestleMania main events in quite some time. The battle for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. The champion, Roman Reigns, putting his 945-day reign on the line against the winner of the men's Royal Rumble match, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. Of course, Roman Reigns, not coming alone as always. He had his special counsel, Paul Heyman, and the enforcer of the bloodline, Solo Sikoa. Solo was all over the place in this match. The Usos got involved. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens fended them off to even the playing field. But despite all that, the winner of the match, and I'm not kidding you when I say this, 34 minutes and 35 seconds, and still the undisputed WWE Universal Champion, the Tribal Chief reigns supreme. Roman Reigns wins the match, successfully defends the title, 34-35. I believe MF, it goes to you. Am I right?
Yep.
MF, the only thing I can say is it was very simply put. WWE obviously did not want to spoil us. They said, hey, we gave you one happy ending. If you thought for a minute you were getting another one, you were surely mistaken.
Yeah.
No happy ending here. We got Saturday night, we got a happy ending. We thought we were on the verge of another one, but WWE gave us the big old FU on this one.
Yeah. And the thing is that it's a slow burn. And even Triple H, he referenced it. He's like, look, we got more to this story, and there's more that's down the line. He's like, I get it. I understand where you guys were going to go, but what if we did pull the trigger and give Cody the title? And you know what? To honestly think about it, I think he did it because of what we just saw here tonight on Raw, and we'll get into it tomorrow. It makes more sense now why they did what they did. And trust me, Cody will be fine. Obviously, it was devastating. It was heartbreaking. It felt like a gut punch. It felt like a gut punch to all of us. We all were like, oh my God, yes, no, man, what the heck? We all felt that way. History was made, but for all the wrong reasons. Roman Reigns successfully defending the title, keeping his record-breaking pace, and now there's nothing that's going to stop him from being a 1,000-day champion. He's almost there. He will be there eventually. Where does it go after that? Who knows? Some people believe maybe he'll keep the belt until SummerSlam. Some people believe that he might go all the way to WrestleMania next year in Philly. We won't know. All we know is that the reign continues, and Roman Reigns remains the head of the table, the tribal chief, and the face of the WWE. But I will say this. Cody has nothing to be ashamed of. He's got nothing to hang his head on. Heartbreak, Yes, but I do believe over time he will reach that pinnacle. He will reach that moment, and I truly believe that at some point he will become the world champion. Um, it's not a matter of if now. I think it's a matter of when. Um, obviously, there's heartbreak. Obviously, there's heartbreak. There's devastation. There's everything else. But for the match, this was a 5-star. I know there's going to be people that are going to be like, well, you got to take points off for the solo interference. You got to take points off for the USO interference. Yes, I'll give you that. Granted. But the time of the fall, the psychology of the match, and everything that went down, you got to give this 5 stars. And I will give it the 5 stars, regardless of the ending. There's really nothing more to add. Anthony, it is yours.
It's a 5-star classic, but yeah, oh boy, a brilliant, red hot main event that featured some of the most dramatic near falls in Mania history, concluded with a referee bump, interference from the Usos, and Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens making the save. By the time Cody uncorked the bionic elbow, added Brother Dustin's drop down uppercut, and delivered consecutive crossroads to his opponent, it seemed clear he was going to win the title. Then Solo Sikoa, who had been ejected earlier from the ring by referee Dan Angler, returned and delivered an amniotic spike. Reigns speared Cody. Ref counted to 3. And the 81,395 fans in SoFi Stadium sat in stunned silence. Opportunities such as the one that presented itself Sunday night to create top-level talent and alter the course of wrestling history are fleeting. They do not come around often and must be seized when they do. WWE whiffed Sunday night hard. Life was sucked out of the stadium. The goodwill built via night one was gone. The most prestigious night in wrestling was suddenly defined by anger and sadness. Not at Roman, because he is a great heel. And I'll even go as far as to say, the best final boss in history. But because WWE managed to mess up the most obvious finish in recent memory. There are only so many times one can turn over the fans before they stop coming back. WWE skirted dangerously close with the decision to end Mania, with Roman still the champion. The rating may be 5 stars, but that was merely for the in-ring content, which was near flawless. But everything else represents one of the biggest creative misfires in WWE history, and little did we know, it was only the beginning. It was only the beginning of the end. Case in point, tonight's Raw. 5-star classic, fight of the night. Cody presented the late Brody Lee's son, Brody Jr., -1 from AEW, with his weightlifting belt at ringside before embracing his daughter Liberty in an emotional moment before the match. Roman said, "Who owns the island of relevancy? They pay for you." Rhodes attended the disaster kick, but Roman caught him and powerbombed him for 2. Solo jabbed Cody in the ribs with a steel chair, undetected by the referee Dan Angler. Cody backbody dropped Roman off the Spanish announce table through the English one, giving the American Nightmare a reprieve from the concentrated attack on his ribs. Solo then used the weightlifting belt given to Brody Jr. to strike Cody. This time, referee Dan Angler caught him and ejected Solo from ringside. Tribal Chief caught his challenger with a spear on the rebound, but only could keep him down for 2. And then the Usos started to interfere in the match, but were seen off by the new tag team champions, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. It's still a 5-star classic, but damn it to hell, that finish. Yikes. That is all there is to say on that. And little did we know that was their way of saying back to reality. That's all there is to say on that. That was the coldest, harshest dose of reality that was ever injected into a crowd. Unbelievable. But Drew McIntyre losing in Cardiff was one thing, but this one was even more demoralizing. Even more demoralizing.
This one stung. Even I'll openly admit it. Going into it, I think the world felt it. I think everybody everybody, all in their right minds, all in their hearts, all in everything, we're all thinking the same thing. Cody was gonna become the champion. And it was there for the whole world. And unfortunately, they pulled the rug out from under us. They literally pulled the rug out from under us. But Hunter said it. This is just a chapter of the storyline. That the next chapter starts on Raw Monday night. And we'll get into that next chapter. And trust me, folks, that if we thought we knew it all, oh no.
Nope.
How they laid this out tonight, we're gonna have a lot to talk about, especially going into tomorrow. So yeah. we'll definitely get into it on our special Tuesday night edition of Ridiculously Raw tomorrow. But yeah, it was like I think we all needed a little extra time to collect ourselves after that one. But
back to reality, can you say?
I don't want to say it. I didn't want to say it, but it felt like it. Yeah, I'll openly admit it. It did feel like it. So there's really nothing more to say.
The ultimate back to reality, and we'll get more into that, and we'll elaborate a great deal more tomorrow night. And to put this to bed before we get to our overall review, MF, I'm going to steal a quote from my man Jesse the Body Ventura. You know, like he said at WrestleMania 3 after the Hogan Andre match. You thought he had it. I thought he had it. I mean, when it comes to Cody, you thought Cody had it. I thought Cody had it. The world thought Cody had it. But
very much so. Very much so. Yes. Yes. Yes.
And Jesse was spot on 36 years ago when it came to Andre and Hogan. But nonetheless, let's get into our overall review here. Obviously a step down from night one, but not too much of a step down from night one. Probably give it about maybe 8.5. I think that might be the best way to go here because there were just too many good matches here. I mean, main event, unbelievable. You can. I think that needs to be that should be ranked up there in the upper echelon of greatest main events in Mania history. Not just the tag team on Saturday. That one should be added up there too. The Intercontinental Triple Threat, greatest Intercontinental match in Mania history. Don't give a damn what anybody says about it. Bianca and Asuka. They had a very good women's title match, but Charlotte and Rhea was just far better. And Hell in a Cell delivered, despite questionable booking decisions. Obviously, the most questionable of all, the main event, obviously, but it didn't take away from what was an equally great night too. I'll say it like this: if they had slammed the door and given Cody the belt, I would have gone on the record. I would have said this is now the greatest WrestleMania of all time. But almost, but not quite. It's 8 to 8.5 for night 2, perfect 10 for night 1. So not much more to say here. So MF, take it home, night 2.
I will say that it is an 8.5. I could easily say that this is probably one of the better WrestleManias. I'll even go as far to say it's the greatest WrestleMania of the 2-night, since they've been doing the 2-night thing.
Agreed.
This is the greatest WrestleMania of the 2-night format. As a whole, I could even go as far to say that this could probably go into the top 10 of greatest WrestleManias of all time. You could even make this is an argument where it maybe is outside of the top 5 of greatest WrestleManias ever. I think right now, I would probably say I would go 17 as number 1, 19 at number 2, 30 I thought it was number 3, 20 is number 4, 24 was number 5. I could easily put this WrestleMania at number 6 for greatest manias of all time. I think this WrestleMania had some great storylines. And for this to be Triple H's first WrestleMania as the executive creative officer for WWE, he absolutely hit a home run. People wanted Triple H in power and as the head of creative, and this was his moment, and he passed the test with flying colors. As an overall review, that would put my official rating combined of the two nights between 9 and 9.25, and that still is very good for WWE. Dave broke all kinds of records over the weekend, from social media to the actual advertising gate to the paid attendance to everything. They broke records left and right throughout the weekend, and that's a testament to WWE. Congratulations. Well done. Anthony, it's yours.
May have been the most successful WrestleMania, shattered all kinds of records, but the same cannot be said about what happened tonight. Absolutely not. Same time for the usual, MF?
You got it.
Okay. All right. Tomorrow night, special Tuesday night edition of Ridiculously Raw, as we will review the Raw after WrestleMania. And let me tell you, folks, social media is pissed and has every right to be. That's all I'm going to say. They're unleashing hell. And tomorrow night, I think we're going to be unleashing a lot of hell, to say the very least. Simply put, WrestleMania was, I felt we saw heaven when it came to WrestleMania. But what we saw on Raw tonight, that was hell. Pure hell. And we're going to elaborate a great deal more tomorrow night. So we'll review Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania. There were some bright spots, yes, but there was way too much bad and negative that totally outweighed any positives on this show tonight. There were some, not many. I will say that. And then in a special Tony's take, I will give you the results and my thoughts of Impact Wrestling's Multiverse United, Only the Strong Survive, the combo show from Impact Wrestling and New Japan. So we'll get into all that on tomorrow night, 10:30, special Tuesday edition of Ridiculously Raw. Wednesday night, we got Wednesday Night Madness, 10:30, hosted by MF. That will be NXT, the fallout from Stand and Deliver, and of course, AEW Dynamite. We'll get into that as well. Loaded AEW Dynamite, which I'm really looking forward to on Wednesday night. I'll say that right now. 4 championship matches. Come on now. Thursday night, 10:30. Unfortunately, we don't really have much on the docket for TXN Sports World. This might be a light show come Thursday night because we're going to be recapping the Men's National Championship. We'll also recap the Women's National Championship, and we will preview this upcoming week of the XFL. That's really all there is on the docket right now. If anything else comes up, if any big news or what have you come up, we'll be sure to add that to the docket, but it looks like it's going to be a short and sweet show on Thursday night, I'm afraid.
I think next week will be a little more of an interesting because that's when we got the NBA playing tournaments, and I believe we will also be previewing the NBA playoffs next week.
I'll look into that. But if
I
that's the
do
case,
believe the season ends next week, and then I think we get in. I think it's
I think
the
it's for the
10th.
NHL.
Huh?
I think it might be more of the NHL, and I think the NBA is right around the same time. So I'll keep an eye on that. And if that's the
Yeah.
case, then the following week, yeah, we're definitely looking at a much better show when it comes to the Stanley Cup and NBA playoffs. No question about
Yeah.
that. So, and our XFL preview, of course. So, but and maybe even some USFL after that.
Yeah, because USFL will also be starting next week, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, the 15th and the 16th. So, but I think it's going to be a later docket for this week.
Well, yeah, obviously.
So, not going to be much of a show on Thursday. It's going to be a short show, to be honest, when it comes to Thursday. And then Friday, we got the return of the Cerebral Smack Talk, hosted by good old MF Michael Fletcher, as we will have the SmackDown fallout from WrestleMania, and then of course AEW Rampage. We'll get into that as well. And they also have the Battle of the Belts show too, because they're going to be doing a live Rampage and of course the Battle of the Belts from our neck of the woods, Kingston, Rhode Island, the University of Rhode Island, the Ryan Center. So that's it. So until and then we do it all again next week, and we pray that this week was only a 1 week thing. Hopefully we'll get back to normal next week, but I got a bad feeling about it after what we saw tonight. So with that, that'll do it. So until tomorrow night for a special Tuesday night edition of Ridiculously Raw, it's Anthony Floyo here for good old MF Michael Fletcher, and in spirit, the Phenom Michael Bullock and the First Lady of this show, Dee Dee Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Throw it up Fortune Force style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Tuesday, and until tomorrow night for our special Tuesday edition of Ridiculously Raw, you've been watching this special edition of Talking Wrestling TXN, our recaps of NXT Stand and Deliver and WrestleMania 39 right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and Streamy.com. And remember, my friends, no matter what anyone tells you, and especially after what we saw tonight, wrestling is indeed actually real. For everybody who's been a part of this show, for everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio. So long. Bye, everybody. Bye.